Welcome again to Rewrite the Narrative, where it is okay to be curious. Please like, share and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future video uploads and drop a comment. Breeder culture is Bakra culture / plantation culture. Can you agree? I can. Today I'm going to do a review on this video. It's one of Politricks Watch latest video where Sir P explained breeder culture. Yes, while I can agree, I want to put some things into context and bring some perspective to it. Let's get started.
Breeder culture is Bakra culture. It is a plantation mindset. The entire concept of men reproducing willy-nilly, right? 20, 30 women and just breeding up, having children just cause, is a direct descendant and a relic of the plantation era. Come on, hit that dislike button. I'm working here.
Boom. The man same is working. Alright. Breeder culture is plantation culture, aka Bakra culture. 100% correct. But in order to shed some light on the present, it's when do and go back to the past. Yeah. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Bakra culture. Bakra culture suggests that you are livestock for a person. That's what I get from Bakra culture, right? Back in the days, 500 years ago, you find that men from Europe got sponsored by European countries. They traveled to the Western world. They conquered the Western world. They stole as much as they can. They went to South America. They pillaged the gold and silver mines. After they depleted its resources, they move on to North America, and they found that the resources were different, but they didn't find the gold, they didn't find the silver, but they found land. They move on to Africa. They got some people from Africa, bought them into servitude, and then they got into cash crop. The problem, however, was they needed as many people as possible. How did they achieve that? They started a breeder culture. Yeah, they got people from Africa. They collected money from Europe, went to Africa to buy people, come to the Americas to drop off the people, pick up the cash crop, bring it back to Europe, and that's how we had a tri-nation, the voyage thing going. And they found that it was expensive doing that, so they influenced the people to breed, force them to breed, and they influence them. But how do you force people to breed and have them successfully breed and found that it is worthwhile? They praise them and they incentivize it. So during the time of the Bakra masters, during the time of slavery, during the time of servitude, they had people being worshipped for being breeders. There was one phrase that a woman who produced 2 children every 2 years is better than the best and the strongest male slave. You see, a woman who is a proper breeder better than the best male slave. That was where you worship breeders. People came from slavery and they had the knowledge of slavery. But we also had the Bible that documented a form of slavery that was 2,000 years ago. And even some of these men, the worst killers in Jamaica and in the world, well, in Jamaica and those religious countries, right? They love their gun and their Bible. And one thing for sure, the Bible respect a proper killer. David cut off a bugger man's head and carried it to the king, and the king gave him anything more. Yeah, them sing David name throughout the street. David have a bugger woman. So your gun and your Bible, man have him sold on him Bible, be a girl. Anyways, that's beside the point. It is Bakra culture, but they were incentivized to do it. There was a time when a breeder was a big deal. Let's move it forward.
Let's get something clear. Only in backward, underdeveloped, crime-infested countries is the concept of a man having a baby mother and a child in every city something that gets applauded. Do I need to repeat myself there? Go on, prove me wrong.
Okay, no need to repeat. I get it. However, bringing context to this, there was a time, not very long ago, in recent times, right after slavery, a woman was valued as much for her ability to breed as when she was in slavery. And the reason why they were valued that much, was because the Industrial Revolution eliminated the need for agricultural economy and handicraft. Agricultural economy and handicraft explains itself, really. It's a barter system. You exchange food for food, or exchange food for money. The more food you have, the more wealthy you are. The more animal you have, you're rich people. A woman with a lot of children is a wealthy person if handled properly. During slavery and after slavery, during slavery, people was put on a street next to a wall, and they were listed as stocks, and they were bonded out. Stocks and bonds. So people get rich. Right now, you just buy some stocks and bonds from Robin Hood. Back then, a woman with a lot of children could get wealthy very quickly by bonding her children out for a month after slavery, and that woman could develop herself and her family. That's how they did it. The Black Wall Street that they spoke so famously about in the black community in America, that's how it was built. There were people who were bonded out, and they accumulate their funds, and they built what they were building. That was after slavery. These were people who have a lot of children. These children were their wealth, and the Bible explained that these children are wealth. The Bible was not updated, and people believe in the Bible. Jamaica is fundamentally a religious country. While people are straying away from religion, they grabbed on and they hooked to religion for a long time. And even today they still hooked to religion. There was no adjustment made. There was no re-evaluation done. There was no retraining on what societal expectations are. Societal expectations shift and then just enforced. And you can see even in the new normal, there was no preparation. People are just forced into whatever they want the society to shift towards. This is a huge topic, and I cannot go into it, but I just wanted to touch on that because the point that these are somehow a result of people making bad choices. It goes beyond that. Some of these people did exactly what they were told, and that was the result. Society changes and people don't get the memo early enough. And the idea of the fatherless children, these fatherless children were okay because the mothers were taking care of them. This in Jamaica, it was a visiting relationship type of thing. These women who had a lot of children, these children were bringing wealth to them. And even today in society, you'll find that these women are benefiting from all these children. They are benefiting, especially in the countries that pay incentives to women who keep the children in the house but the father out. Again, reviewing something like this, you could see it as unnecessary, because his point, or Serpi, your point, is not about the breeder culture only. He said that yes, it is a relic of the breeder culture, and your point is to show that, hey, after understanding that it destroys family, why do it? But you also state that after understanding that some kids are strong, you also understand that some are not, and the emotional intelligence is not distributed equally. My only reason for reviewing a video like this one is to show that there was a time when breeder culture was valued, and there were not a time when they educate people that the breeder culture is no longer valued. They just shun the breeder culture, and it leaves people confused, because the book that pretty much praise and amplify the need for breeder culture was not revised, and until it get revised, it will not change. The biggest and the baddest man in Jamaica, who make all the dope with them still cling to them Bible, and one of them prized possession, and that is also a relic from the Bakra.
If it was such a good thing, right, why Bakra himself never do it? Why did Bakra have him pit them under one roof with his wife and raise them as a single unit? Right? Why, when you look at the countries, for example, historically, countries like the UK have had a massive impact, right, in the Caribbean, all over the world. And Jamaica, as a former British colony, was originally Spanish colony, but the British them run out the Spanish and take over, right? So, for the most part, Jamaica is a former British colony, right? So when I talk about this, I talk about the English them, right? Why in England, breeder culture amongst white males don't exist? Why are they not praising themselves for having 25 baby mother in 25 different cities? Why is their culture so family orientated? But the former colonies, it's the reverse. Want to notice which culture?
They didn't just conquer the Western world, they conquered Africa and forced these people into servitude also. Therefore, Africa had colonies. That's why so much of Africa is owned by even British people up until to this day, by Europeans actually, including, well, South Africa is an example, right? This was an example of what handicraft and agricultural economy look like. They had people all over the world working and sending everything back to Britain. Britain eventually become an industrialized country, hence Industrial Revolution started, giving scientists and all of those people who are learned people the opportunity to focus on invention and innovation. So there was a time when breeder culture was worshipped. You remember times when a woman, she could be pretty like a dolly. If she can't breed, she ain't nobody. We are at that point where breeders are not appreciated. We are at that dispensation where it is shunned and frowned upon. Is it because they cannot afford to? No, because we're at the stage in life where we can afford more things than ever before. But it is not, we're not at that point where it is needed. It is not needed for society. And that is why I had to touch on this. And this is probably more than just a review, and it's more like a perspective thing, right? Because again, breeding was incentivized and it was applauded.